Well, good day there. I'm so glad that you're with me today. I want to talk to you as a leader about the fact that God provides people and ideas if we're open to Him. Years ago, I was in a situation where our church had moved from 5 acres of land in a building that seated 400 onto 40 acres that the church owned. And we wanted to do something special with it. We put up a tent, that was special enough, and a lot of people said, oh, you'll kill the church, but instead we grew like fury. People came in this big lemon grove with a tent, and I wanted to say, now what do we do from here? How do we create something with 40 acres that people could walk on and feel themselves being changed? I tried all sorts of sources. I didn't want to go to a church architect because they'd build a church. I knew change was in the air. Last thing in the world we wanted was to build another just church. And so I was excited one Sunday morning when I learned that someone who'd been on the Disney design team was going to our church. I asked him out for breakfast. I said, now Mel, I've got this vision where we could do with 40 acres where people could come on site and be completely renewed. They could find themselves enveloped in a new experience. He said, oh, that's destination architecture. Oh, I see. He said, Walt Disney came up with that. He said, when you go to Disneyland, you're captured by the buildings. You don't see outside. He lets you see everything that he wants you to see. And more than that, he said, Disney's idea of architecture, he said, people are wrong. They put all the money into a building, and if they've got some left over, they'll landscape it. He said, no. He said, put up a box and create beauty all around it so it's an experience and people are thrilled. That really turned me on because I wanted the 40 acres. We had enough room there to be able to do something that people could really be reignited in life, come on there and be healed if they were struggling with problems, where they could relax, where they could be renewed. And so I said, that's fantastic. I said, will you help us? Oh, I'd love to, he said. He said, well, I don't work with Disney anymore. I work with a firm that designs shopping centres and casinos and the like, and they own my ideas. And he said, the woman I answer to can be very difficult. I said, oh, okay. I was disappointed because he was a young man who I thought really held the answer to what we needed. He came to me a couple of weeks later. He said, she goes to your church and she loves you. So we got her on the building committee as well, and I got Mel and I got his brilliant brother Peter, and they introduced me to architects who did a lot of work with Disney, some of the great projects around the world. And so the idea was created of building an experience on 40 acres of land. And it turned out to be beautiful. Everybody who walks on there is impressed. You're surrounded first of all by the warm colours in everything, whether it's the bricks of the buildings. You're surrounded by beautiful foliage. We've got various lovely fountains, beautiful things that speak of peace. We've even got a pop jet fountain, so in summer, when the kids come out of church, they can play in it. It's just a wonderful place. And so we were building various buildings, and then it came time to build a new worship centre. Now what are we going to do? We're going to put up a cathedral? I don't think so. We're going to build a traditional church? Certainly not. We weren't traditional. We wanted to build something that, just like the community buildings that we had already, which was a restaurant, Starbucks, Spot and everything else, we wanted to create a building that was community. And so we came up with the idea of building a very modern entertainment centre. And we did. Do you know some of the most famous singers and performers in the world have performed there and have spoken so highly of the facilities? It's a fantastic experience. You go in there, there's 3,200 seats. Every second seat has a cup holder. We had great, fabulous music. It was a terrific experience to go into it. We'd hear people lined up outside to go into some show, and they'd say, do you realise this is a church? And we found so many people would come back and try out the church. So thinking wider than just church, but making the community aspect, that was what made the difference. A reporter came to report on our opening. She was very sceptical. She said, I haven't been to church since I was 12. She obviously didn't like church much, and she didn't like our church at all. When she wrote it up, she said it was a huge building with cup holders and rock and roll music and people everywhere. Our people read the article. They didn't realise it was a negative article. They said, hey, that's us. That's fantastic. And so did a lot of other people. When you think of building or designing, keep in mind destination architecture. Make it an experience for people that they'll never forget.